And that's how we calculated the Passover for the 29th. The Passover have always been, on the Most High's calculation, Sabbath. It has always been Sabbath. Okay? So, we answered those questions. We also gave you the links in which you can see the same information we see to understand how to calculate. Now, here's something very deep. That when you put the calculations in from Sinai, you must put in the coordinates of 33 degrees to get the proper time. Now we know that Christ was crucified at the age of 33, the beginning and the end. That coordinates is where the Most High was speaking to his people. It's the beginning of time. So he was giving us a timestamp and a geographical location. And that's why at the very end where we are now, they're doing everything to keep us from going into those particular areas, knowing that that will be the same area in which the Most High will guide us while we're keeping the Sabbaths in the wilderness. They're doing everything they can so that we cannot connect back to our Father. Okay? Concerning the Sabbaths. Now, one moment here. I hope I answered the majority of your questions here. And also, the detailed information I went into was sent out already. So if you have any questions, you can deal with the elders and deacons in your respective areas after they've went over the material. And of course, they'll be able to answer those questions as well. So let me open this up for questions for the next couple of minutes. And if y'all have questions here concerning it, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Oh, one other thing I wanted to go into. Real quick. I'm sorry about that. Hold up. Exactly, for those who asked that question. The first day of the year is sundown Saturday. Because why? It's the first day. Sundown Saturday begins a new week. So you have to look at the year as a week. You got that? It begins Saturday sundown. It ends when? Friday sundown. Same way a week begins and ends, a year begins and ends. Same thing. Why? Because 7 goes into 364 flawlessly. The year will always start Saturday sundown. The year will always end. What? Exactly.
So they've just made it complicated for no reason, really, haven't they?
Exactly. By following the moon, like the Most High warned us from, is what confused us. It was just 7. And it's deep because in the beginning, that's all it was. 7. Only thing we had to do was just stay on that. 7. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Next 7, Passover. That's simple. New Year, 7. Every 7 days is a Sabbath. The second Sabbath of the New Year is what? Passover. The Passover was always on a Sabbath. And by us dealing with the moon, we was doing it on whatever day. If it fall on a Tuesday, you do it there. Fall on a Wednesday, you do it there. You fall on a Sunday, you do it there. It was always on the Sabbath. And that makes common sense. If you know when the Sabbath is, there's no excuse in not hallowing it. It falls on a holy day. It's simple. You got it? Okay. Now, the other point that I wanted to make real quick, and we were discussing it beforehand, and I wanted to say it real quick, and this is not to dissuade those who prep. When you hear about right now, people are going through a prepper phase where everyone is online as being preppers. Right? And I wanted to bring out one scripture concerning that, because a lot of preppers don't know that what they're preparing is you're preparing a stronghold or food possibly for someone else to eat. All right? And I'm saying that because the Most High told us when this thing break out, we must be like what? Pilgrims. That means your heart cannot be into your substance. It can't be into, well, I'm going to retire in 4 years. You may not be here in 4 years. It can't be in, oh, I put so much work into this house and I put my spirit into it. Well, listen. Hey, you got to be like a pilgrim. Why? Because the Most High have things prepared for you. Somebody else may be prepping something, but when it goes down, because they don't have the faith and understanding, they're going to get moved out of the way, and you're going to look around. They're going to be like, yeah, there's an empty house up there. You can stay there for a week. And you're going to look, it's going to be, man, where all this food come from? It was preppers who was not preparing for them. They were preparing for those who believe. Our preparation is spiritual. And Christ gave that example. Let's get that in Luke real quick.
This is the book of St. Luke, chapter 12, verse 15.
Read.
And he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness.
Covetousness is the desire to heap things unto yourself. Covet, like some people may covet cars or covet shoes or clothes or things that embodies their uniqueness. And then Christ is going to give an example of that. Read.
For a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth.
It's not the abundance of the things that you possess. You think that if you get all this stuff together, that it's going to be okay for you. But that's not the case at all. The reality that you must deal with is that whatever you have or whatever you need is provided all over the earth. That you have to get this in your mind too. That food grow other places. Water run other places. If you get into this mindset that, well, hold up, this house is mine. Yes, it's yours, per se, legally, but it was built within a construct that could be taken from you. That's the point. It's like you're living on someone else's construct, so you can only own according to their rules. So I put it out there all the time. Brothers and sisters need to think more so of renting than owning anything. Why? Because when this whole thing crashes, and it will crash, the only thing that's going to be left is what you put into it. What you will own will be on your back when you're put out of it. That's it. You're going to look at it like, my house. They're like, no, it's not your house. It never was your house. Why? Because you were paying on it. Anything you own, you don't pay for anymore. Okay? Listen to this clearly. So you're renting anyway. If you don't believe that, stop paying your mortgage.
Even if you don't pay your
It's just, mortgage is, listen, it's like they're calling it something else. In England, they call it let.
So
and-
even if you have even if your mortgage is paid off, stop paying the council tax.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Mark just made a great point. Even if your mortgage is paid off. Now you think, oh, I didn't pay my house off, I'm good. Stop, don't pay the taxes on it. What happens? So you still renting. Why should I be taxed for something I own and it's not costing the government anything to keep up? Taxes is usually for keep up or maintenance. So what are they maintaining for you? So why are you paying them taxes if you didn't paid it off? It never was yours. Listen to this clearly, what it say in Scripture. Go ahead.
St. Luke chapter 12, verse 16.
Go ahead.
And he spake a parable unto them, saying, The ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. Verse 17. And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do?
Now here's someone that's good to do. They have finances to operate. To show you it's deeper than finances too, because a lot of people say, well, man, look, I don't have the money to do anything. If you're rich in spirit, you'll survive what's coming more so than Donald Trump or any rich person out there. Because you're already used to the struggle. You're already used to just trying to make something work. So they're going to look to you for guidance. Listen to this clearly. Read.
And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits.
And these are people who got it all going. They got fruit. They got trees busting out and oranges and saying, look at my cabbage. And you got people prepping everywhere, man. Look at these greens. And I'm like, man, they didn't get the drone memo. The reality is, yes, it all looks good now. You even got brothers who are coming together saying, well, listen, let me put my money together. Let me get a place somewhere in the United States. And we're going to do our own thing together and just do some, diggings. Listen, I'm not going to dissuade that because that's a good idea. Because you'll need those, even if you put off the land now, you know how to till. But I'm just giving a perspective to say, listen, deal with the reality that place that you are, you will be displaced. You will be moved off of that land. Or the Most High would not have told us, be like pilgrims in that day. Pilgrims is, hey, you must learn to operate and be content with what's on your back in the spirit of the Most High. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. Not how much you got on a 401k or whether or not you stockpile silver, and not saying that all these things are not okay to have if you need them for bartering. But all in all, don't let that be your security. All right? Finish reading what you have.
St. Luke chapter 12, verse 18. And he said, This will I do. I will pull down my barns.
I will pull down my barn.
And build greater.
I will build greater. Read.
And there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. Verse 19. And I will say to my soul, Soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years.
Yeah, I'm okay now. And if there's a collapse, I'll be okay. I got my food stored. I got my canned goods. I got my weapons. I got this. I got that. I'm all right. Now I'm ready for the collapse. And then what did Christ say?
The end of verse 19. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry.
Let me eat, drink, and be merry. I'm okay now. Read.
Verse 20. But the Most High said unto him,
But the Most High said what?
Thou fool.
Thou fool.
This night thy soul shall be required of thee.
You die tonight. Read.
Then who shall those things be?
Who will eat that food? Who will sleep in that big house? Who will go into the areas that's stored? Who did you